Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? It's Nathan back with another video presentation. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all staying safe. Happy here's to the weekend. Hope everyone's doing something fun and productive and doing something for themselves. Before we get into the video, there is a few things I need to say up front, as I already said. Welcome. I do apologize if I turn on my lighting. So I apologize if you can't see me. This is we're at episode 9, I believe. Yes. This episode, we're just going to focus on tomorrow starts the conference semifinals. We went from the Elite Eight to now the terrific six. So we're going to break down those these six teams in the series. I'm going to give four, the Elite Eight. I'm sorry, not six, the Elite Eight. Excuse me. So we're going to break down these 8 matchups. I'm gonna go give my prediction who I think will win the series. I have not really decided. I'll see what happens after tomorrow. But I probably will do it like I did a while ago, where I was breaking it down game by game. I will do that as best I can. But I'm just gonna give a preview, and then I may just do it the same thing we did in the first round at the end of each series, and just take it from there. The other 2 episodes, we've got the NFL for round 1 draft grades. I'll do that after this video. That's episode 10, and then episode 11. That will be my preseason ranking for the WNBA for this upcoming 2022 season. And then Monday, we're really going to dive into the Ravens and the Washington Commanders, their draft and overall draft grade for both teams. Break down each guy that was each draft pick, and it was a good draft really for both teams in my opinion. So you'll see that Monday, and then got to get a Wizards off-season focus in there, and also too we open up against the Indiana Fever, so definitely going to break that down and take it from there. But if you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, want to see more, consider hitting that like button, consider hitting the subscribe button. Again, I appreciate the support that you're giving me and this channel. But let's get into it. So tomorrow starts the conference semifinals. A lot of rest. It's a lot of rest. I was quite surprised. Some teams have the unfortunate pleasure of not getting that rest, and that is okay. The first round did not disappoint. I mean, there was a couple teams that did disappoint. Minnesota was disappointed. Brooklyn, they disappointed, and different things like that. But I think this is going to be a good round. I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict one upset, and I'm going to predict one sweep. So I'm going to start in the Eastern Conference. We got the Miami Heat, who beat the Atlanta Hawks and the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll start with the Sixers and the Miami Heat. This should be an interesting game, an interesting series. A couple things taken into consideration. Joel Embiid got hurt. Surgery is unlikely for him. Now, this is where I have some questions. I'll start with the Miami Heat. Okay. They signed Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker to not to get it to really to be an answer to the missing piece to the puzzle for them. They've played more games than Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I had to look at that stat. I couldn't believe that. They're still number 1 seed. You know, you got Tyler Hero there, Duncan Robinson, and then you got Caleb Martin, Max Strauss, even Victor Oladipo, who's coming around as of late. You know, with all the injuries that he's had, I think the way that this Miami Heat team they have a strong offense and a defense that's tough. That it completely took the wings from the Atlanta Hawks. You didn't even have Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry in Game 5. Now, the biggest issue for me going into this series is those guys, can all of them stay healthy? I think that's the key. They're looking at Philadelphia. Okay. I think this they got this year, next year. You have Joel Embiid, who, in my opinion, I think is going to be MVP. Then you traded a disgruntled Ben Simmons, where if you look at a hindsight 2020, I think it was a good move. But day by day, as it goes by, the trade makes the Sixers and Daryl Morey and the Sixers look better. You gave away Steph Curry, Andre Drummond to Brooklyn along with Ben. You got two first round picks. Can't forget about that for James Harden. This is where I'm looking for James Harden to be that guy, the same guy that showed flashes when he was in Houston. Even last year in Brooklyn. He hasn't been consistent. Actually, you can really see he kind of had a disappointing year. Even though he'll still put up great numbers, he did just enough to help the Sixers beat Toronto. Now, I do think Embiid's injury is going to hurt them from this standpoint, because he was already playing. I know he was playing through a torn ligament in his thumb. Okay, and then already he got is an orbital bone fracture. He got it with like 4 minutes to go. Now, this is your backups: DeAndre Jordan, Paul Millsap, and Paul Reed. So they had the unfortunate pleasure. Now they got to figure out how to defend against Bam Adebayo and make him be aggressive. And this is what they brought James Harden in here for. He has the ability to put a team on his back. I mean, but that's the question. Can he put this Sixers team on his back? Can he lead them? Can he take them into the next round is the question. Tyrese Maxey, he's who has been developing really well as a third option. Now you're going to give him more scoring opportunities, and it's going to be really those two, because the play should just be for Embiid and Harden. But now that Embiid's not there, now you're going to look to Embiid Maxey as the second option. Okay. Then I think also too, looking at this series, I do think that health for Miami is the key. And I do think they have the experience. They have guys that have been in the playoffs, have been in the playoffs. Now, it's how do you keep your starting five healthy, and come clutch time, are these the guys you can depend on really on the offensive side, the defensive side of the ball? Who's going to step up the most? I think that's one key. The other key, that's the second key, excuse me. And then you look at Philadelphia. I mean, let's keep it real. Ever since they traded for James Harden, the 76ers really haven't played they've been pretty up and down. Okay. I think they played against Miami, I think it was. And they did something where they took out DeAndre Jordan and put in Paul Millsap. And to me, because Paul Millsap, he can shoot, and he, down the stretch, he is a reliable offensive weapon. Now, most likely, your starting five: Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris, um, and then Paul Millsap, and then maybe Thibault. That's probably and Danny Green. Excuse me. That's pretty much what you're starting five: Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, and then Millsap. That's pretty much when you're starting five. Now, I think I want to see one or two things. The matchups are going to be interesting because I want to see if Kyle Lowry, if healthy, he can definitely on the perimeter. He could definitely lock up Harden. Jimmy Butler. If James Harden offensively, if he smells blood in the water, he's gonna take advantage of any mismatches. But keep in mind, you got Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. They're not good defenders. So really, James Harden, he's got to really play great this whole series and take advantage of those mismatches, those matchups. And then on the Sixers side, Philadelphia, without Joel Embiid, you got to figure out how to contain Bam Adebayo because you know he's at the rim. He's a solid rim protector, and James Harden likes to take it to the hole. That's going to be interesting. Now, I'm going to say this: the Miami Heat will beat the Philadelphia 76ers in 7 games.
Guaranteed.
I don't think it's enough. I can't see the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers doing it. I can't see it. Let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics, they're definitely feeling themselves after sweeping Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So they have every right to be happy about this. Milwaukee Bucks, on the other hand, actually back up. Let me start with the Celtics. Let me finish with the Celtics. They had probably the best second half of the season. Okay, their deep really at the start of this year, their defense has gotten better. You got to give You got to give a shout out to Ime, Coach Udoka. You got to give him some love. Jason Tatum has been playing well, and just his game on both sides of the ball. I just love his versatility. Now, all that you saw against Brooklyn and how they Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, no answers for them. Now, unfortunately, Brooklyn did not have. I'm just playing devil's advocate. They did not have the greatest supporting cast. They didn't have Joe Harris. Claxton was not good, particularly at the free throw line. When they needed others to step up, couldn't find them. Now your starting lineup's going to look a little different now. Now that you got Robert Williams back, I think he injured his meniscus, so that's going to be something on defense you got to pay attention to. So now your lineup is going to be Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and then Williams. I think they've only lost one game together, and that's bad. I can't remember when it was, but I know they lost one. That starting lineup has lost just one game. And then I look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, now towards the end of the year, they took their foot off the gas, which is okay. They didn't want to face Brooklyn, which was fine. I like the emergence of Grayson Allen. Brooke Lopez You can see I've noticed that they're taking a better approach with him. I know he's been dealing with a back injury, and they took care of business with Chicago. Um, Even though DeMar DeRozan dropped 41 points on them, other than that, the Bulls had no answers. I mean, the others when it came down to it, you couldn't find those guys. That was another issue. Now, um, Giannis in that series against Chicago, he averaged 29, 29 points a game, almost shooting 60%, uh, drawing double teams to open shots for his teammates, who were shooting like almost 40% from three. Now, Chris Middleton, who's dealing with an MCL injury, an MCL sprain, I believe they're going to keep him. They're going to keep him out for precautionary rounds for this round. So, and we don't know about what George Hill, because I know he's dealing with some. He's dealing with a back injury. I think it's abdominal or something like that. So that's another issue. And then also too, like, hey, you Serge Ibaka, he really did not get a lot of opportunities in this series, the previous series against Chicago. I mean, listen, every series isn't for everybody, and it wasn't a series for Serge, and that is okay. Then you got to look at it this way: a healthy lineup with Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. I think when they played Boston, they didn't play that game. Now, if you keep in mind, Josh Richardson, Dennis Schroeder, and Romeo Langford, I believe, I think they were playing the most minutes, I want to say. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't remember. But, like, that lineup, I said it earlier, that's going to be a line. I want to see how they're going to match up against most likely Drew Holiday, Giannis. Okay, those two most likely going to be when it gets down to the bottom, when it gets to the when it gets to the closing time. Giannis and Drew are going to be out there. Now, you got Brook Lopez, Pat Connaughton, so you're probably going to have Grayson Allen out there. You don't have PJ Tucker, but you have Bobby Portis, but you can't have him and Brook Lopez out there together because I think their length, they're going to have a hard time really stopping Boston's ball movement. That's going to be another issue. So you could go with Grayson Allen. I think Wesley Matthews. That's another option. So Mike Budenholzer is going to have to make some. He's going to make some serious adjustments. We got Mike Budenholzer last year about it. He's going to have to make the adjustments to this lineup and to this series. I think the key is to contain Giannis and make those other guys earn their points. You've got the Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart. They're going to make Giannis earn those buckets. They're going to make him work hard for it. Now, Boston's defense. They're going to, again, like I said, they're going to make Giannis be a passer, and I think that's the key. If you can make him be a passer and get the other guys to shoot, and if you shut him down, it's a long series for Milwaukee. Now, Jason Tatum, he was guarding Kevin Durant, and I'm curious to see what that matchup is going to look like. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to throw every defender on Giannis. I know they're going to do that. Jaylen Brown probably would be one, and Marcus Smart would be another. So I'm really curious to see what that'll look like. But if they can contain Giannis, the Boston Celtics can win this series. But I'm going to say the defending champions will win in 6.
Guaranteed.
Let's move on to the Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns beat the New Orleans Pelicans in 6, and the Dallas Mavericks beat the Utah Jazz in 6. So we're going to start with this series. Couple things I wanted to make note here. I like Luka Doncic. I've been a fan of his. I am happy that the narrative was killed. He can't get off the first round of the playoffs, which to me was pretty good. Now, the Phoenix Suns, I still think they're on a mission to get back to the finals. Monty Williams, to me, who deserves to be coach of the year. I mean, you can't say anything about their roster. It's practically the most perfect roster I've ever seen in the NBA so far. Now, I just think Chris Paul and what he's done for these young guys it's just been amazing. I just make 14 shots to close out the Pelicans without Devin Booker. It's just astonishing. Again, this says the leader that he is and just one of the best point guards in the game. Then you got Mikal Bridges, who was a Defensive Player of the Year finalist, and then DeAndre Ayton. Like, they have it all. Now, obviously, Devin Booker got hurt. I think it was 25 minutes into game 2, I remember. He did come back for game 6, but he didn't do much. I mean, he did shoot a clutch 3 to send New Orleans home, but that's okay. Dallas. Luka has been the focal point of that offense. You got to give Jason Kidd some love. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks, they are a top 10 defensive team. Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Maxi Kluber. Then they went out and got Dinwiddie and David Bertans. Like, they've done a lot. Even though I think getting Spencer Dinwiddie, it kind of takes some of the takes some of the pressure off Luka offensively. Like, you got guys that know their role to go around him, which I think is the key. Now, when you look at Dallas, Dinwiddie and Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson, they are your number 2 and number 3 playmaking players. And then you've got, I think besides Dwight Powell, everybody can shoot the 3. They can space the floor out. So that's going to be key. How's Phoenix make that adjustment? And then number 2, Dallas, how can the others around Luka be consistent and just continue to make the smart basketball plays that they're making? Because that's top 10 defense is going to be something really interesting. So I'm kind of going to see how this defense is going to look against that Phoenix Suns offense. Okay. Now, I thought this series last series was over when Luka went down with his injury. And then Jalen Brunson took over. And the Utah's perimeter defense, which was complete trash. Let's call it what it is.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
All right, and then also too, like the Jazz should be in the second round, but because of Quinn Snyder and that coaching staff failing to make the adjustments, was a wrap. Now, coming into this, obviously Phoenix is the better team because I think they swept Dallas 3-0, if I remember that correctly. And then, like, we all know it's with Phoenix, their lineup's going to be CP3, Devin Booker, Ayton, Bridges, and Jay Crowder. Okay. Fun fact: I looked at this stat. When they close games, they outscore their opponents. I think it's by like around 75 points. I want to say, and also too, I think down the stretch, that's the key. Now with Dallas, their small ball lineups are what helped them beat the Jazz. They had Luka, Brunson, Finian Smith, Dinwiddie, and Reggie Bullock. That's actually interesting. Now, the difference between in this series, Rudy Gobert is not a shooter. DeAndre Ayton is a shooter. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dallas will take advantage of that. Will they put a big on him, or will they let him shoot the ball? That's going to be interesting. Now, I kind of want to see with Phoenix, on the defensive side for Phoenix, how they're going to contain Luka, which means they're probably going to put Mikal Bridges on him more than likely, which I think is going to happen. I mean, he did D up Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, but we'll see. You take away Luka, the Maverick, but hey, if you take away Luka, you still got Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, and Finian Smith. He's going to get those guys. If he feels like they're taking him away, he's going to get those guys their shots, and to the point where you're going to have to start making some defensive adjustments. Now, I'll be honest, I say the Phoenix Suns they'll win in 6 games. Guaranteed. And then the last matchup for the conference semifinals is those Golden State Warriors versus those Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies have the unfortunate pleasure, I think, having the least amount of rest because they got to play Golden State, who's been waiting for them. Grizzlies, they're quite one of my favorite teams to watch. John Morant's a star. There's no doubt about that. Like, most improved player, even though some people make an argument Desmond Bain should have gotten it. And I love the fact that he actually gave him that most improved trophy to Desmond. That's a real teammate. That's respect. Shout out to John Morant. Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams. Memphis has a good, solid roster, again, of guys that know their role, and they're just a very, very young and energetic team. And then you got Taylor Jenkins, who I think also should be considered coach of the year. That Memphis team defensively, and I've seen them when we played Washington. I've seen them play us. I think that matchup with them in Minnesota, what you saw was a Minnesota team that, yes, they worked their asses off to get where they're at, but they've got some serious self-reflecting to do. And when it counted, everybody from Memphis stepped up. Like in Game 5, John Morant took over. That's what stars do. And Memphis, they have it all. Now, the Golden State Warriors, I consider the elite guard of the NBA, if that makes sense. We hadn't seen Klay Thompson in almost 2 years. You had Draymond Green. He also had injury. Steph Curry as well. They were carried by Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II, and then Jonathan Kuminga, who really hasn't played in this playoff series. If you paid attention, ladies and gentlemen, against Denver, they had numerous small ball lineups against Denver, against a Denver team that didn't have Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray. Let's just keep that. Let's just be honest with that. Now, they didn't have Memphis when they played Minnesota. They had Steve Adams on Karl Anthony Towns, which was not which I can understand at first, but it wasn't a legit good matchup. Let me just say that. And this might be a series where it's not for Steven Adams because Golden State's probably going to go small. So most likely, you're going to have to put Ja out. You're going to have John Morant, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. You're probably I'm trying to think of the other kid. I can't think of his name. I see his face. I'm gonna look him up. His name's escaping me. I cannot think of his name. My mind's drawing a blank. Tyus Jones. They could put him out there. Or Kyle Anderson. That's another option. They could put him out there to combat Golden State's small ball. Then you have Brandon Clark as well. Now they're starting to come. Now it's starting to come to me. Okay. So I mean, those are your three options you could put in place of Steven Adams. But Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, that lineup is disgusting. And then you got Otto Porter Jr., former Wizard, Andre Iguodala. They're coming off the bench because they got more size and they're good defenders. So I really do think that you're going to see Gary Payton on John Morant, in my opinion. That's what I think you're going to see. And then Dylan Brooks, I could see him on Steph Curry. That'll be a good matchup for sure. But I do think that with Golden State, I think you're going to have to provide some. You're going to take advantage of your size and defense if it starts getting out of hand. At Memphis, are you going to make the adjustments to the small ball lineup against Golden State, which I believe they will? So I'm going to say Golden State in 6.
Guaranteed.
Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below. Ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. As I stated, the next episode will be the NFL first round grades. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, my focus has been on these playoff games, and there's been great basketball that I'll be watching. I've heard and I've watched all these videos on YouTube giving their opinions of certain teams and hearing certain things about, once again, people reading between the lines. But we'll talk about all that. But I did want to close out with this. This is not a shot at him, but I really quick wanted to just talk about what Kyrie Irving had said on Twitter, talking pretty much saying that as people like himself and others, the media is always putting dirt on his name and other names for all the wrong reasons. And I just think that the energy that I've seen from KD and Kyrie is not the energy I would think. You just got swept by the Brooklyn Nets. Again, we're talking strictly basketball. We have the right to criticize your game. Unlike others who have taken shots about Kyrie not getting vaccinated and all that stuff. We're talking strictly on the basketball court. You guys did not have a great series against Boston. Your attitude should be, you know what? I have to get better. It's not when somebody says something about, man, you had 4 bad games. Like, y'all supposed to be this team that's going to win the championship. And then you get in your feelings when you're called out about it. That just tells me that these guys are sensitive. It's okay to criticize, ladies and gentlemen. We, as pundits in the sports media, that you have rights to criticize. It's okay. That you do have those in the media that, again, as I stated, like to control and spin the narrative. And what I felt like Kyrie was taking away was trying to take away the attention of, I just lost, I just got swept, and I don't really want to talk about it. But we, again, have the right to criticize. That is okay. Because what are we supposed to do? We're just supposed to say nice things. See, that's what I'm talking about. These guys, when we give them praise, there's no, hey, thanks for the kind words. We criticize them. You see stuff like that on Twitter. You see what Kevin Durant did with putting Charles Barkley, his pictures when he was in Philadelphia, Phoenix, and Houston. Those kind of things. It's just accepting, look, we're giving you answers to the test. We're saying, hey, you had a bad series. And you just have to get better, plain and simple. We're not talking about stuff off the court. That's what other people do. That's not what I do or others. We should talk about basketball and we keep it in between those lines, and we have every right to criticize. Don't like it? You can't take the heat? Get out the kitchen. Because guess what? That's what stars are for. This is what bus driver means. When you're the bus driver, you get all the praise, you get all the criticism. If you don't like it, tough. That's the way it works. Plain and simple. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until then, again, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Y'all have a good weekend. I will see y'all in a little bit. Peace out. Oh, sorry about that.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.